All right, folks, welcome back. I went to check my mailbox the other day, like my P.O. box where I get packages, and got an enormous surprise. And I mean enormous, like this big, gigantic, huge box. I should probably show you pictures instead of trying to put it up here on the bench. This is the Hornady Lock-N-Load Classic Kit. Now, I didn't order this. It was a complete surprise. So I figured someone must have sent it to me. I came home, started looking through all of my messages and stuff, and finally found a message over on Facebook from a fine gentleman named Sean saying that he wanted to send me this kit. So first of all, huge thank you to Sean. This is way beyond generous. Like, this is crazy, and I sincerely appreciate it. Now, the reason why Sean sent this is that, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks ago, I had mentioned that I wanted to refilm my Beginner's Guide to Reloading series. My current Beginner's Guide to Reloading series, it was some of the very first videos I made. The video and audio quality was terrible. I was cussing every third word. I never expected anybody to watch these. But somehow, some way, a bunch of people ended up watching them. They've helped people get started with reloading, and it's high time that I just refilm it and start over. I have learned so much since I filmed that. Like, I'm a completely different reloader today than I was when I filmed that series. So I'm looking forward to this. But before I start filming that, I want to spend some quality time here with the parts that came with this kit. I want to get comfortable with them. Now, in the last series, we used the Breech Lock Challenger kit from Lee. I still think that's a great option, and it's half the price of this Hornady kit. So if you've bought the Lee and you're thinking that now I'm changing my recommendation, that's not what's going on here. I still think the Breech Lock Challenger kit is great. I feel certain this Hornady Lock-N-Load Classic Kit is going to be great. If you go with an RCBS Rock Chucker kit, or I think there's like a Redding Big Boss kit or whatever, any of the kits that are basically just built around a single stage press are going to be great. I can already tell you this Hornady kit, it includes stuff that I don't like, and I'm going to recommend you replace it. It was the same way with the Lee kit, and it'll be the same way with any of the other kits. Now, before I get started on filming this new Beginner's Guide to Reloading series, I want to spend some quality time. I want to spend a couple months using the parts from this kit as my primary tools in my videos. So from this point forward, at least for quite a while, this Hornady Lock-N-Load, Hornady Lock-N-Load Classic Single Stage Press, that's going to be our primary reloading press. And the same thing with all of the various accessories I'm about to show you. And to be quite honest, I might just permanently use this press. I kind of like the idea of using the same press in my normal videos that I had used in the Beginner's Guide to Reloading series. So this might just be our new permanent press. All right, let's start going through the different pieces that came with the kit. This is not going to be very in-depth because some of these parts I haven't really even developed an opinion about yet. So for the time being, this is just an introduction. So we might as well just start out with the press. All right, here she is, folks. This is a standard single stage reloading press. This is an O-frame design, right? Like, that's a nice strong design. This guy's not like incredibly heavy. It's some sort of aluminum alloy, I think, or something very similar to the Lee Breech Lock Challenger press. I have already resized some 300 Winchester Magnum in this guy. I wanted to make sure that there was enough, room in here to be comfortable to get the larger cartridges in and out. It wasn't any problem whatsoever. Everything I've done on it so far, I feel like I've got plenty of power. The handle is pretty, it's nice and long, so it gives you plenty of leverage. The depriming on this guy so far is not too bad. You raise the ram and it comes with one of these, which is very similar to the Lee design as well. This is actually a priming tool that hooks into the ram of the press and through a little slot here. If I can get it, there it went. So when you need to prime, you set a primer in there and you take the ram down and it pushes a primer up into it. Well, this needs to be installed anytime you're decapping as well, because the old primer comes down and deflects off of this and into this black plastic cup. I kind of like this cup. When I first saw it, I thought, I don't know. For one, the reservoir is not all that gigantic, and it just kind of, sits in there. It doesn't clip very tightly, but so far it's good. I mean, the fact that it goes in and out easy is a good thing, because whenever I'm not, depriming, I'm pretty sure I'll be taking this guy out, so I've got a little bit more room to work here. So the name Lock-N-Load Classic comes from these. These are the Hornady Lock-N-Load bushings. The press kit comes with 3 of them. and they allow you to quickly install and remove dies from the press. Like actually I've got one in here right now. If I can get it out of there. There we go. So here's one with a die, and as you can see, it's very easy to quickly install and remove the dies. So you get your dies set properly. All Hornady dies come with a really nice lock ring, kind of a pinch style lock ring, so you can tighten them down so they don't move. And then with the Lock-N-Load kit or the Lock-N-Load system, they go right in and come right out. So that's the main disadvantage of a single stage press, right? You can only have one die at a time. So the Lock-N-Load system helps with that. So that's pretty much it here with the press. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here, and once I use it and get used to it, I'll have a lot more to say about it, I'm sure. I guess one thing I should say is it's got this offset design here. Like, yeah, I'll show you a picture here. You see how it sits sideways by a little bit. And a lot of presses, you know, they come straight out from your bench, and you're kind of reaching around the front of it here, right, to get to your shell holder. So this offset design is really pretty cool, and it does make it easier and makes your shell holder more accessible here as you're putting in and removing brass and doing whatever you're doing here. The problem with this, like, I don't think a left-handed user could use this press. For one thing, the linkage mechanism is not reversible. Like, you can't move the handle over here to the other side of the press. And if you were trying to use this from the other side as a left-handed person, you'd not only have the handle in your way, but this offset design, it would just be a nightmare. So this is a right-handers only press setup. Any of you left-handers out there who have tried one of these, let me know if I'm getting this wrong, but it seems like it would be a huge pain in the butt. Now they do make a priming system here. You can see this silver spot here. There's like some sort of an auto prime system that holds a reservoir of primers, and it works in conjunction with this guy. I think when you raise it and need the next primer, it puts one into this guy. I don't think it's automatic. I think you got to do something. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy that kit yet or not. It's an additional $43, so I don't know. We'll think that over. So that's it, folks. That's the press. Let's move on to the powder measure. We'll start with the far away view so I can show you how I've got this set up. This is the stand for my RCBS Uniflow powder measure. If you've watched my video, you might have seen this guy. This is the RCBS Uniflow. You'll notice it is extremely similar to the Hornady. The Hornady hopper is just a whole lot taller, which you can't even see. There you go, there's a hopper comparison. I've never felt like the RCBS didn't hold enough, so you know, I don't know why Hornady has a gigantic hopper, but I don't see any downside to it. So this guy did fit into the RCBS stand, so that's what I'm going to use. Hornady sells a stand as well. I think it's kind of similar. I don't think it's quite as tall, but it's an additional $33. So we're just going to use my RCBS. I'll tell you what, I can just remove this guy real quick. This uses the same threading as dies, so you can use a die lock ring. Yeah, there we go. You can use a die lock ring to put it in a stand. Now it does come with, I guess you could call it a stand. It comes with this little thing. So you can mount this to the edge of your bench. Yeah, you mount this to the edge of your bench, and then the powder measure sits down in it. I've seen people like build a wooden stand to connect this to and stuff, but that's what you get. Like that's, yeah, that's what they give you with the kit. Now the powder measure itself is very nice. Very nicely made. I love the handle. Like the handle's really easy to get a hold of. And in case you're wondering, I guess I should have mentioned it at first, but a powder measure, you fill the top up with powder, and you see this cylinder here. Well, powder comes down and fills up this little cylinder, which is adjustable for different amounts of powder. And then whenever you raise the handle, the cylinder comes up and it drops it down out this spout. So you'll hear them called powder measures, you'll hear them called powder drops, powder dispensers, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is. Now, one huge advantage of this guy over the RCBS unit is it is very easy to kind of take apart. It's got this little spring-loaded push button on the side. Well, you push that, and if I can, yeah, there it is. Yeah, you push that in, and this is what they call your metering insert. This is the standard large one. There's a smaller one for pistol charges. They call it the pistol rotor and metering assembly. And if you're going to be mainly doing pistol and you know, shooting loads 4 or 5 grains or 6 grains or whatever, the pistol metering assembly might be a little more accurate. I tried throwing some light loads with this and it did okay for me. So I'm not going to worry. It's an additional $30 for the pistol rotor and meter assembly, but I doubt I'm going to buy one. I think this one's going to do just fine. We'll test it out and find out. I think it's the same way with the RCBS Uniflow. They offer a different metering adjuster thingy like this that's smaller for pistol stuff, but I've never really needed it. And I've thrown a lot of pistol charges with that powder measure. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Now, I've already screwed this one up because the first time I took this apart, I thought, oh sweet, it's ready, so I can just push this out and it'll come out this side. Well, if we push it in a little bit, you see this black O-ring? I already tore it somewhere. Yeah, there it went. Yep, I broke it. But it doesn't seem to be affecting anything, I don't think. So if you're actually looking to remove this guy completely for cleaning or whatever, you want to push it all the way in that way, take that O-ring off, and then pull it out. I'm sure this is in the instructions, but I didn't read them. Now, to get to this point with the RCBS, I have to pull out tools. You have to remove the handle, I think. I don't know. It's a whole process to get that one apart, where this one's nice and easy due to that spring-loaded takedown pin. I like that. So it assembles in the reverse of disassembly. Yeah, you don't need to see that, but it's very solid feeling. Like, you know, everything's metal except the hopper and I guess the little cap. So I've got high hopes that this is going to be an outstanding powder measure. One thing I'll say, you have absolutely got to degrease the crap out of this thing. Like seriously, do not even use it. Take it to the sink, scrub it with soap, and then after that, maybe wipe it down a little bit with a dryer sheet. Because I didn't degrease this thing properly the first time I used it. Powder was sticking everywhere. This is the stickiest piece of reloading equipment when it comes to powder sticking to it that I've ever used. It's insane. So yeah, just make sure you degrease it. Now the thing is though, once you get kind of a coating of powder dust on stuff, sticking goes away. So if you're extremely annoyed by powder sticking to it, just keep using it, man. It'll eventually go away. One cool thing, you might notice there, it comes with a baffle. This is just a little, you know, a little V-shaped, yeah, I guess it would be, yeah, V-shaped like that goes down in there. That way, as you've got a hopper full of powder, it's sitting on top of this and just slowly feeding a little bit through the slits in the side. You might imagine if the entire column and weight of powder is sitting straight on the hole here that comes down to your metering assembly, well, as your powder level changes, that amount of weight changes and your charge weights can change. So the baffle is great. It helps you keep your powder charges just the same, no matter whether this thing is completely full or if it's all the way down to here, you should be just fine. So I think that's enough yapping about the powder measure. Now let's move on to the smaller parts. All right, the first small part here we'll talk about is it comes with a digital scale. This is the Hornady G2 1500 electronic scale. I'm about to do a scale video. I've got this guy that, you know, came with this kit. I've got a Lyman that I had bought recently, hoping that maybe it wasn't a piece of garbage. And I've got like 2 or 3 more, just cheap ones from Amazon. And I'm going to be doing a scale video here in the next week or two. I really like these Amazon scales. But I was hoping maybe this Lyman or maybe this the Hornady that came with this kit would be better. I'll go ahead and tell you in advance, like it's not awesome. It's accurate though, and that's more than I can say for this Lyman, which reads a couple tenths off no matter what I do. So at least this one's accurate, but this one has floated around on me a little bit and, you know, changed zero, and it's slow to read. Like when you put, like if you're putting a bullet on there to read it, like it's a good half second, 3/4 of a second before it actually gives you a reading. That sounds ridiculous that I would complain about that, but hopefully in the scale video, I'll show you that a lot of other scales are much, much faster. And that slow response time can really get to you when you're trickling powder and stuff like that. I don't know. I've still got some more testing to do with this guy. I'm hoping maybe I'll learn its quirks and it'll be okay. But so far my hopes aren't too high. It does come with a nice powder pan, which is something you can't say for scales on Amazon. They come with dinky little pans that are pretty much useless for reloaders, so comes with a nice powder pan. The next thing that comes in the kit is the Hornady manual. Yeah, this is the 10th edition Hornady manual. You can see it's still in shrink wrap because I already own a copy of the 10th edition Hornady manual, and it is my favorite manual. If you guys pay attention, you'll see me use it in a lot of my videos. And what I really love about the Hornady manual is they cover all of the weird stuff or all of the new stuff. Like, they put out new manuals at a pretty good pace. So like this 10th edition has a really good selection of 300 blackout data, 6.5 Grendel data, 6.5 Creedmoor data. Like, the modern cartridges are covered. Some of the other companies that put out a new manual every 8 or 10 years, you never know whether it's going to actually cover your cartridge. So I would say that Hornady has the widest variety of data, and I love them for that. It also has a good section that you should definitely read about, you know, the basics of reloading and how to reload. Now, manuals are not cheap. The cheapest you're going to be able to find these are 25 or 30 bucks, something like that. So it's great that one's included here in the kit. Yeah, and just for the heck of it, there's my Hornady 9th edition manual. And when they put out the 11th edition, I'll be one of the first to buy it. I'm a huge fan of the Hornady manual. Covers a lot of stuff, uses good powders, and everybody should own a copy. Okay, so we already talked about it, but it's here on my list again, so I'll bring it up again. They call it the positive priming system. This is what you saw me putting in the ram of the press for priming. You set a primer down in there and it tilts up and pushes in a new primer. Now, unfortunately, they don't give you a separate arm for, like, this is the small primer version, and they don't give you a second one for large. I think the Lee kit comes with 2 of these. You get one for large and one for small, so it's easy to swap between them. Here with the Hornady, we get parts. So if you want to swap this out, you've got to remove this, put in the different one. I think if you pull it down, it's actually got a little head on it there, so you can get a hold of it with some pliers or a nut driver or something like that. So that's what they call their positive priming system. Next is the handheld priming system. Now, there's one piece and here's another piece. You're probably thinking to yourself, all right, that's for large primers or small primers, and then this is for the other one. No, this is for Hornady shell holders, and this is for RCBS shell holders. And if you look at the primer tray, like this is where the primers go, there's one end for large primers and one end for smalls. I didn't even know that Hornady shell holders were that much different. Like here's a Hornady shell holder. This is what your piece of brass slides into in the ram of your press. And you'll see it goes down over that little, little nipple thingy there. No problem. But if I grab another shell holder, like I think this is a Redding shell holder, this is too big. Yeah, it's too big to go on there. So that's what the green tray is for. It's for the smaller shell holders. Like, let me grab that guy again. There it is. This is a Redding. It goes right down on there. Now, the good news though is this priming system does use standard shell holders. A lot of them, like the Lee and the Frankfurt Arsenal and several other hand priming tools, use special shell holders with basically this bottom part chopped off of it. They're flat right here. So they're little thin guys, and you have to keep 2 sets of shell holders. That's one good thing here about this Hornady hand priming tool. That's what, yeah, you slide your piece of brass in there, a primer automatically falls down into the hole, yep, like that, under there, and then the ram comes up and pushes it into the case. Now, the fact that it uses standard shell holders is about the only good thing I can come up with to say about this thing so far. It kinda sucks. Like, I've got to get used to it. I'm going to give it every opportunity to start impressing me. But a couple problems. For one, the spring in this dude is totally too weak. Like, look at that. It's not even strong enough to always retract itself. So as you're priming and you're moving along, sometimes you'll finish putting in a primer and then you pull away your fingers and the handle doesn't come with your fingers. So they could do with a little bit stiffer spring. Maybe I could find a stiffer spring to put in there. The other problem is, okay, so let's say we just finished priming. Yeah, the glare of this guy's killing me. So let's, and I guess I could just show you how that goes on and off. Yeah, it just goes on, then a little bit of a twist, and you're ready to go. Now, the good thing is you can see this plastic piece here. It does block off this other hole. That's when I was putting it together the first time, I'm like, man, I hope primers don't want to fall out this side. So yeah, this covers that up. So let's say you just finished your priming job and you're getting ready to start seating your bullets or something. Well, you need your frickin' shell holder. So you've got to tear apart the tool, which you push down like this, and yeah, then the shell holder comes out. There you go. There's the shell holder that just came out. And then the whole thing comes apart like this. Comes out the top. And then under this, you got your spring and this ram. Now, there is a second ram. There you go. This one is for large primers. So you've got a ram for large primers and one for small primers. You get a single spring that's too weak. I don't know, maybe I could just frickin' pull on it, stretch it out a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I ought to be able to find a replacement spring or something for that, because that's kind of driving me crazy. And then what you're left with is, this, that, well, it continues to, yeah, it comes the rest way apart. So when you're not using it, you're kind of left with this mess of parts. Now, for an example of something different, here is the Frankfurt Arsenal hand priming tool. Like I mentioned, this one uses these special shell holders, but it does come in a decent case, and the thing, it stores in one piece, right? The additional attachments for your other size primers are kept neat and orderly, so, this is a little bit more expensive, but not a whole lot more expensive, because this Hornady handheld priming system is $50. It's $47.32 if you buy it outside of the kit. Now, if you want to see my absolute favorite, it's this. This is the RCBS universal hand priming tool. So, yeah, it's got a very similar tray, right? But it doesn't use shell holders at all. It's got spring-loaded jaws that'll hold just about any size case you can think of, and you're off and going. Like this, these are my favorite hand priming tools. I don't remember the exact price on them, but I think they're 60 bucks maybe, or they're not much more than what they charge for this kit outside of this Lock-N-Load Classic Kit. So the downside to these, it is a pain in the butt to switch back and forth between large and small, but these have been my favorite. I like it so much that I bought a second one. I got one set up for large primers, one set up for small primers, and these are extremely easy to use. So this is probably my biggest disappointment in this kit right now, is this frickin' hand priming tool. Because I love hand priming. Hand priming is my preferred method of priming, like priming on the press with this guy. I don't know. I may end up buying that auto prime system for it just to try it out, just so I can evaluate it for the beginner series and let people know whether it's worth the additional money. But I was really hoping this would be a decent hand priming tool, and it kind of isn't. And this weird 2-tray system for the different shell holders is, I don't know. It's a little bit disappointing. So next is the universal loading block. You use these to hold your cases while you're doing your reloading. It's got a bunch of different size holes and stuff. It fits just about everything. Now, I know quite a bit about this because I actually have 2 of them already that I've used a ton. We used these all the way back in my original Beginner's Guide to Reloading series. I love these. So I'm happy to see that they include one here with this kit. Now, sometimes the fit isn't perfect, and several companies make reloading trays that are very specific to one cartridge. So if you only load one thing, then a lot of times that's your best way, and they're only $4 or $5 a piece or something. But if you load a bunch of different stuff, these universal trays are nice to have around. Next is the chamfer and deburring tool. Yeah, this little guy. Let me pop it out of the box. I've used this guy a little bit, and it is nice. It cuts nicely. It's a really nice size. I was looking around for my Lyman. I've got one of these made by Lyman that is basically pretty much the same. It's just a little bit longer. When I first saw this, I was wondering whether it was going to be big enough to, feel like you had something to get a hold of, and it is. Like, it's got nice knurling on it, and you can, it's the perfect size. So I'm extremely pleased with this chamfer and deburring tool in this kit. Now, the next thing is the powder trickler. This little guy is a powder trickler. You put powder in here, and when you turn this, powder comes out the spout really slow. These are extremely useful when you're weighing out precise charges. When I first pulled this out of the box, I thought, good grief, what in the world is this? It's like plastic. It's extremely light, and the one I'm most used to using is a Frankfurt Arsenal here that's all metal. It's like extremely heavy. It's very stable, like when you're trickling and stuff. And this little plastic guy, if you go at it, like it bounces around and moves around. That may prove to be a negative, but the flow out of this guy as you're trickling powder is very smooth. Like it's easy to be precise with. So my first few times loading with this guy, I'm actually really impressed. It's definitely, you know, just a cheap made little thing. And I was hoping for something maybe a little bit nicer, but it operates really well. So I'm okay with the trickler. Next is a funnel, very standard MTM funnel. I was loading some 22 caliber stuff with this just the other day, and it is good. But I have another one of these funnels. Yeah, right here. Look at this guy. This guy's got some miles on it. Nope, that's the wrong one. Here it is, this one. Yeah, this one, it's got some miles on it, and over time, the hole down in there has gotten just a little bit bigger. And this one, whenever you set it on a 22 caliber case, the case neck likes to get stuck up in there. It's fine for anything larger than 22 caliber, but with 22 caliber stuff, this one I've had to stop using it. So over time, maybe this one will have the same problem. But it's you know, it's a $4 funnel. So not going to complain too much about that. The last piece in the kit is some one-shot case lube. This is Hornady one-shot case lube. I have never used one-shot spray-on case lube. I've had a lot of people recommend that I try it. What I generally use is a mixture of lanolin and alcohol. This is separated. I need to shake it up, but that's lanolin and alcohol, a homemade blend. And I also use Redding Imperial sizing dye wax a lot of times. But I'm going to give one shot a fair shake, because what you'll learn in reloading is people get emotional about their case lube. Everybody's got their favorites and they think everything else sucks. So what that tells me is that pretty much everything from bacon grease up to one shot here, anything will work as long as you use the right technique. Like I need to figure out exactly how much one shot to spray on there so I don't get stuck cases and I'm not denting the shoulders of my brass when I'm resizing. And that's pretty much the same story with any lube. You use too little, you're getting cases stuck in your dies, which is a gigantic pain in the butt to deal with. If you use too much, you get shoulder dents. Tell you what, you guys that use this, how long does it last? Like, do I need to buy another can to have on standby, or does this stuff last forever? Let me know. All right, did I cover everything in the kit? Let me double check here. Press, powder measure. You get 3 die bushings. Did I say that? There you go. You get 3 of them. They are not terribly cheap, especially if you want to buy one for every single one of your dies. There, 3 of them are $16.49 was the best price I could find. So if you have 3 or 4 dies per cartridge and you reload 4 or 5 cartridges, that gets expensive. But I don't mind setting up my dies for each reloading session. What I'm looking forward, to using these for is switching between dies. Like, I don't know, maybe we'll be using a seating die and a crimping die, and perhaps, switching back and forth between them or something. It'll be easy for that. Or maybe with pistol stuff, we're doing a sizing operation and a case flaring operation. Like, I can set up those 2 dies and easily switch between them. So I probably won't buy another pack, at least in the short term. All right, next, electronic scale, the Hornady manual, the handheld priming system, the universal reloading block, the chamfer and deburring tool, the powder trickler, the funnel, and the one-shot case lube. Now the question is, okay, is this a good deal? Well, the fine gentleman who sent this to me, Sean, he got a smoking deal on this. A few months back, or I guess about a month ago, Hornady, I think, was running some sort of promotion, and this kit was cheap on pretty much all of the reloading websites. Sean happened to buy from Graf & Sons, grafs.com is their website. That's a great retailer. But at the time, this kit was $239.99. Now, currently the price is $279.99. Now, that $240 sale, I think, was a very rare sale. So I would say if you're finding it under $280, you're probably getting a pretty good deal. So let's do the price comparison at the normal price, $279.99 or $280. Well, I went around and looked up every single piece that came with this kit, and the total price came to $405.02. Now, one difference though is that if you buy the press separately, it comes with the auto priming tool. right? When you're priming on the press, that tool that automatically can load the primers into this priming thing, it comes with that, and that's a $43.41 option. So if we take that away, the parts involved are about $361. Now, no matter what kit you buy, there's going to be some crap you don't like. Like I mentioned, I think this scale is probably going to be crap, and I think the hand priming tool is crap. I'm going to give them both a fair shake. They might be serviceable. And by the time the new Beginner's Guide to Reloading series comes around, maybe I'll love them both. I don't know. I'm going to try my best to get used to them and see how they do. But those are my two top candidates for needing replaced. Now, if I remove the cost of the scale and the hand priming tool, we're down to $286.30. So that's pretty close to the $280 that we spent. So the savings we got by buying this kit rather than buying all of the parts individually is enough to where, you know, if we need to replace the scale, if we need to replace the hand priming tool, we didn't end up losing any money if we look at it that way. And if we consider the price that Sean got, which was $40 cheaper at $239.99, we're still $40 ahead. So that's the trick to these kits, is you got to look at them and say, all right, what parts am I going to absolutely have to replace? Because if you just look at all of the parts and their individual cost, like, they're all good deals. I don't care whether it's Lee, Hornady, RCBS, or anybody else. The kits represent a lot of savings, but the more stuff you have to replace, the more it eats into that savings. Now, what else do you need? Of course, you need reloading dies, and you also need a set of calipers like these. Yeah, we use these to measure stuff. We're constantly measuring crap when we're reloading. So I don't know why these companies don't include a set of calipers. I've actually got a set of Hornady calipers. Yeah, here they are. These are Hornady calipers. Why can't they throw a set in here? But they don't. Now, the calipers from the reloading brands, they vary in price. $30 or $40 is what you're probably looking at. If you want to go to Amazon, you can get ones that are about this same quality. Like, these are not good calipers. They're really not. They're cheap calipers, and they have a lot of wiggle, and you're constantly like re-zeroing them, and they're not awesome, but they get the job done. Like, we're not building a space shuttle here. Like, this is pretty close. It's good enough. But I've been trying out some other ones recently, and this set right here, this is an eye gauging set that was, I think it was $38 or $39 on Amazon. These are freaking nice. I can't believe how nice they are for the money. I'm gonna have a video on these guys coming up pretty soon, because I also bought another set that, well, these were about $100. An in-size set. A lot of people really love the Mitutoyo brand that are extremely expensive, kind of like these in-size, but for a reasonable cost, these eye gauging ones on Amazon, it might be worth the extra $10 or whatever to just go ahead and get a set, because these, well, like I was just talking about with the Hornadys, these have a lot less wiggle. They return to zero very, very reliably so far. I've only had them a couple weeks, so maybe things will change, maybe they'll fall apart, but so far these are a nice upgrade over the ones most of the reloading brands sell. So bare minimum, that would be pretty much it. Reloading dies and a set of calipers, and I think you could reload. Now, they do have a Hornady Lock-N-Load Classic Deluxe Kit, and it looks like it's about an extra $130. So all of the prices I've talked about here were the best I could find. This is not MSRP. This is the best prices I could find. Like I said, we got Graf & Sons, which is where this came from, Midway, Brownells, Mid-South Shooter Supply, Natchez Shooter Supply, all of the big reloading sites where you should be checking your prices. And those are the numbers I've been talking about. So the Deluxe Kit is $410. So a couple things to get added in the Deluxe Kit. First of all is a straight overall length gauge. This is the Hornady Lock-N-Load overall length gauge. And you use this for determining how long of an overall length you can shoot before your bullets hit the lands. The Deluxe Kit also comes with the powder measure stand, the Hornady powder measure stand. It comes with a kinetic bullet puller. When you make an oopsie, these kinetic bullet pullers, you put the case down in here and clamp it down, and you beat the snot out of it and the bullet falls out. You're going to need one of these eventually, because we all make mistakes. This one happens to be a Frankfurt Arsenal. They're all pretty much the same. From any company, these kinetic bullet pullers are pretty much all designed the same as far as I know. The Deluxe kit comes with 6 of these Sherlock lock rings. Remember earlier where we were talking about, yep, on the die here, you tighten this down and then you can tighten it down and it pinches on there, whatever. Yeah, these are really nice rings. The Deluxe kit comes with 6 of them, and that's a $17 value. Oh, the kinetic bullet puller, by the way, was about $26 for the Hornady, and the powder measure stand was $31. The Deluxe kit comes with 3 additional die bushings, so I guess you get a total of 6. The Deluxe kit comes with the pistol rotor and metering assembly. Remember that? We were talking about this guy in the powder measure and how they make another one that's for pistol. That one comes with the Deluxe kit. It comes with 5 shell holders. A number 1, 2, 5, 16, and 35 shell holder. That covers a lot of the popular cartridges, but you'll need to make sure that it's going to, one of those actually fits what you need. There's a, if you just Google a shell holder reference chart, there's a bunch of charts out there that show all the different cartridges and what shell holders they use for different brands. If those are actually useful to you, that's about 20 bucks worth of shell holders. They're like $4 a piece. And the last thing the Deluxe kit comes with is a set of steel dial calipers. There you go, something like this. Now, there's nothing wrong with a set of dial calipers, but for day-to-day reloading, a set of digital calipers, it makes life so much easier. So much easier. So I guess out of the Deluxe kit, that's the only thing that really sticks out to me. Like, you know, okay, now I've got dial calipers, I still want a digital set. So all that stuff we just talked about in the Deluxe kit comes out to $210.84 for a total value in the Deluxe kit of $615.86. So we're getting a little over $200 of additional value with the Deluxe kit rather than buying all of those parts separately. But then we're back to, okay, we need a set of digital calipers, we need a better scale, we need a better hand priming tool, and that just ate up a lot of the savings. So I think that's about it, folks. Like, this was supposed to be a super short video just showing off this stuff because, you know, you're about to see me start using pretty much all of this crap in all of my videos over the next couple months. But I just wanted to introduce it and explain where it came from and why I'm using it. And I guess speaking of that, I should take another opportunity to thank Sean. This was an incredibly generous donation. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and I think it's going to be the perfect platform to work from for the next Beginner's Guide to Reloading series. All right, folks, that's it. I'll see you guys next time.